What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. It is Sunday, the 22nd of January, 2023. I'm going to attempt to upload this report to YouTube this week. Hopefully we can get back on YouTube because I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong, simply reporting the news. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all the news I'm going to give you. And should this video go missing from YouTube, it will be on Rumble, it will be on BitChute. The links will be on all my feeds. Let's jump into the news, shall we? Nearly a quarter of travelers flying out of China after zero COVID lift were positive for the disease, new report reveals. That from Fortune. Be advised, Omicron subvariant. Now, this is the New York Post. They are quoting the CDC and the FDA. Omicron subvariant XBB 1.1.5, possibly more likely to infect the vaccinated. Possibly more likely to infect the vaccinated. This is mainstream media. I got another link here. U.S. and FDA and the CDC see early signal of possible Pfizer COVID shot linked to stroke. Quoting the FDA and the CDC YouTube staff. This is a Reuters article. I'll put a link to it. Be advised, health check warning to anyone who has had COVID, increased risk of killer disease. What? Anyone who has had COVID is at risk to develop severe heart conditions. Research suggests millions, however, are already protected because of the vaccine rollout. I'll put a link to this from The Sun. Let's talk about people who have not with us this week. American Idol star C.J. Harris dead at 31, suffering apparent heart attack. Very mysterious. No one knows why. Man in Israel died within an hour of receiving a fifth COVID shot. Nobody knows why. Unknown if it's linked to the vaccine. Unknown if linked. 2-year-old child dies suddenly one day after receiving both COVID vaccine and annual flu vaccine. Unknown cause. Want to be clear, California detective suffers medical emergency, dies while driving home from work. What happened here? A very in-shape guy, young man, dead at the wheel driving home from work. What happened? It's completely baffling. Over to Joe Biden news. I had a bunch more of those stories, by the way, but you know how it goes. White House, DOJ agreed to hide classified document scandal before it was known to the press. Of course they did. The FBI also decided not to monitor the Biden document search. Of course they did. Joe Biden, let's see, he sings happy birthday to Andrea Walters King, but forgets her name.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valerie. Happy birthday.
I would imagine it would be exciting to have a president of the United States sing you happy birthday, but then forget your name. Put a link to it, and I got one at the bottom. Posted a video of Joe Biden apparently touching kids, inappropriately touching kids on Instagram, got flagged, saying Joe Biden, there's no evidence that he's a pedophile. I'll put a link to the video. You can judge it for yourself, because that's what my channel has always been about, presenting news and information to people and having you come up with your own thoughts, make your own decision about what you think is going on here. Anyway, over to financial news. How the major U.S. stock indexes fared on the Friday. The Dow Jones rose 330 on Friday, but for the week, however, the Dow was down 927, so 1,000 down week for the Dow. Put a link to this. U.S. hits its debt limit, now risks defaulting on its bills. Oh, come on, they'll print some more money. Are you kidding me? Treasury taps retirement funds to avoid breaching U.S. debt limit. I'll put a link to this from Yahoo Finance. The richest 1%, maybe you want to ask them how to fix it. They amassed almost 2/3 of new wealth created in the past 2 years. I'll put a link to this from CNBC. Speaking of the rich, Elon Musk tweets out, the World Economic Forum is increasingly becoming the unelected world government that the people never ask for and don't want. Oh, what would give you that bizarre idea? Me and my friends have been screaming this shit for 15 years. Now Elon Musk is jumping on board. Okay. Elite extraterrestrials plot in Davos to take away your freedom. That from the New York Post. We got this. Look. In harmony with nature. Where have you heard that before? In harmony with nature. The Georgia Guidestones much? Listen to this guy tell you about 15-minute smart neighborhoods.
Changing the way districts work.
Districts.
For instance, in Zurich, we have a lot of districts where you actually don't need a car. Because all the activities, school, buying something, everything you can do in walking distance.
You don't need to travel. You will own nothing and be happy. That's the plan. Your thoughts are not your own with smart wearable devices. Check this out.
Consumer wearable devices. These are headbands.
Until the implant comes.
That have sensors that can pick up your brainwave activity, earbuds, headphones.
They'll know your feelings. They'll know everything about you. It'll all be cataloged and computed, all stored in a database. You know all this. We've told you all this for years. Universal Digital Payment Network launches at World Economic Forum. Oh my God, another one we got right. Prostitutes, will they be taking digital payments? I don't know, but they gather in Davos for annual meeting of global elite. They're in high demand. I got a couple more at the bottom. A difficult decision set up for the future. Google apparently eliminating 12,000 jobs. Hopefully some of the people that have been, censoring our work over the years. And San Francisco Reparations Committee poses $5 million for each black. More of this crap. I mean, can we keep it real? What makes you think you're entitled to something when we are all slaves of the New World Order? You're not special. Your skin color matters not to these people. Are you kidding me? Over to New World Order and Police State News. This is where I stop and ask you, please share this report. There's a lot of stuff going on here people need to know about. Do you recognize this douchebag from CNN? Oh, excuse my language. Yeah, he's now at the World Economic Forum talking about the clear and present danger of disinformation. How ironic. Is disinformation the clear and present danger, or is it like German court seeks to force COVID-19 vaccine on Holocaust survivor? This is from the Jerusalem Post. What's the clear and present danger here? China's population declines for the first time in decades. What have we been talking about for years? Here we go. We'll soon start in the United States, no doubt. Now, listen to this New Zealand media panel and think to yourself, are they having an original thought of their own, or are they just reading a script?
Project Viewer, you will know that we're very pro-vaccination, pro-booster. I think we were pretty surprised to see that result today. 57% of New Zealanders, according to this poll, keen for those unvaccinated nurses to come back.
You're very
surprised.
surprised.
But for one, I wouldn't want a family member being treated by an unvaccinated nurse.
I'm the same. I'm sorry. I just want to know that my health.
Do you think that's her original thought?
Are vaccinated and that they're all in the same camp.
I'd love to read your comments. Speaking of New Zealand, the Prime Minister has just abruptly resigned in an emotional speech. This is the lady that was pushing it all this time. Do you think that maybe she's figured out what the agenda is that she's a part of? I'm not saying there is an agenda. I'm just saying, hypothetically. I'll put a link to that. What's going on there? I don't know. European official predicts U.S. could soon have illegal hate speech laws. Of course, they want to clamp down on everything you're saying. Biden talking his gun crap this week.
I love my right-wing friends to talk about the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots. If you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s.
I'll put a link to it. Biden administration to illegals. Snitch on American citizens to avoid deportation. That from the Gateway Pundit. We got update here. Stephanie Warner's sister blindsided. Jury will never see the video footage after guards cleared of charges. What happened there? Let's see. She died after being choked by security in a Toronto hospital for having her mask too low. The coroner's report stated she died, but due to restraint, asphyxia following struggle and there's video evidence. Never going to be seen. No one charged. Pisses me off. That's why I put it in the report. I got a couple more here on the agenda front. Transgender board member, Liberty Elementary School, was spotted in a gym next to a naked female. She asked him, "Why are you in the male? Why are you in the female?" And the police tell her she's doing something wrong. And I got one at the bottom. You must accept transgender Miss Universe or you are a bigot. Now, just to be clear, myself, it's not for me to tell you who to be. If you're a grown person and you want to chop off this or modify that, you want to do this, that's your business. What I'm tired of is having it jammed down my throat everywhere I look. Over to World War III news. Vladimir Putin to mobilize 500,000 troops as he assures army victory in Ukraine war. That from Express, I don't know. U.S. set to finalize another massive security aid package for Ukraine. Yes, another one. This is a brand new story. More combat vehicles and I'm sure more billions of dollars going to them. Death toll rises in deadliest Russian airstrike in months in Ukrainian city. They bombed. I'm sure everybody already knows about this. They bombed an apartment building. A lot of people dead. Here we go. I got a GLP thread here. A shout out to the GLP thread. Here we go. Anti-aircraft batteries being installed on buildings across Moscow. They got some Twitter stuff here. A lot of information there. Put a link to that. Let's see. Fury, as neutral South Africa announces moral joint war games with Russia and China off its coast on anniversary of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. That from the Daily Mail. Very interesting. I got this here. What does this mean? Bloomsday. Saudi Arabia's desert turned green around holy cities of Mecca in proof of Judgment Day prophecy. My religious folk are going to have to chime in there. I'm not sure what that means, but I thought it was interesting. Let's see here. We got Ukrainian helicopter crash and kills interior minister and others. Indeed, it looks like, I guess it fell on a kindergarten. I don't know, was it shot down or was it just a malfunction? Caused a whole lot of damage. Put a link to that. North Korea news, how North Korea's thought police hunt down foreign influencers. Put a link to this from the Washington Post. South Korea news, the U.S. now has a nuclear proliferation problem with South Korea. I don't know, put a link to that. A couple more at the bottom, just miscellaneous. Saudi Arabia to open discussion of non-dollar oil trade settlements. And I got one. 500 ATMs apparently blown up in migrant gangs in Germany in 2022. Not World War III related, but adjacent. Over to Earth changes in 2012 news now. We got a whole lot of shaking going on this week. We had a 6.8 on the 20th, a 6.2 on the 20th, a 7.1 on the 18th, a 6.0 on the 18th, 6.3 on the 16th, 6.2 on the 15th. There's a whole lot of shaking going on. Put a link to that. Ocean heat hit another record high in 2022, fueling extreme weather. Put a link to that. Greenland ice sheet, apparently the hottest it's ever been, will cause 20 inches by 2100 if it continues warming at the current study finds. Put a link to that. Let's see, skip showers now. We got in Arizona suburbs, water cut off. Apparently an adjacent suburb has cut off water to this suburb so they can have more water on that side. What say you? Put a link to that craziness. The Biden regime wants you to know that, hey, they own the mud puddles. I'll put a link to this from Natural News. Here we go with this crap again. Over 1,000 private jets is expected to land in Davos. Indeed, they have. WF leaders preach climate change, flying in on their private jets. Just want to throw that in there. Let's see. Speaking of planes, two packed planes almost collide at JFK Airport. Split second of panic, says passenger. How does this happen? Speaking of planes, at least 68 killed in Nepal's worst airplane crash in 30 days. There is video out there of a passenger. I didn't link it in my report because you can find it if you look for it, of the final moments of this plane before it broke up and as it's breaking up and the fire and everything. Just terrible, man. Massive explosion hit lithium battery factory in France, be advised. Oh no, the electric cars. Speaking of that, woman sure a Tesla Model 3 runs on gas and is determined to fill it up. I know it's electric, but like, where does the gas go? It's got to have gas, right? Put a link to that. Bad news for sushi fans. Eating just one freshwater fish of salmon equal to a month of drinking water laced with forever chemicals. Speaking of fish, what happens when the fish eat you? Check this out. This fish jumps out of the water and bites this guy's hand off. Nah. You think it's funny to taunt me, huh? You think what you're doing to come here? I'm not done with you yet. Come over here. Nom. Fish. Over to the strange and bizarre news. I got some craziness. Apparently there's a huge biker brawl down in Austin, Texas. I don't know what's going on here, but bikers are fighting normal folks, and normal folks are fighting bikers, and it's craziness in Austin, Texas. Craziness out in LA. A 64-year-old music teacher apparently charged with child abuse after this kid's in his face for several minutes. I guess he just has enough. I'm on the teacher's side. I gotta be honest with you. These punk-ass kids in schools these days, they need to be smacked in the mouth, in my opinion. I don't know. Defeated New Mexico GOP candidate arrested in shootings. Apparently, he went to the Democrats' homes and shot them up. Would you want to prove that the election was rigged? I'll put a link to it. Man going through divorce crashes a dump truck into his wife's home and parked cars. He said, you ain't taking my home. Smash this shit with a dump truck. Craziness going on. I'll put a link to that. 72-year-old woman dies, 2 others injured after Denny's sign falls on the car. The Denny's sign falls on the car. Craziness going on. Let's see. 6 killed, including 3 kids, after kite strings slit their throats during Indian festival? What? I never heard. What? Kite string. Man. Legal weed apparently wreaking havoc on return to office. All of Illinois is getting woke and baked. I'll put a link to that. Speaking of that, drug shop will sell heroin and crack up in Canada. I'll put a link to this. They got a video report of what this guy's trying to do up in Canada. Facebook and Instagram may lift ban on bare breasts, but only if you're trans or non-binary. Well, how are we going to know which boobs are which boobs? Speaking of that, we got, okay, this woman here, listen to this.
People are really out here saying that trans choochie is the inferior product. I'm sorry. We have the designer, expensive, bougie coochie.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Gucci coochie, she said. Is that what she said? I don't know what she would say to this guy. Biological male applies for medically assisted suicide over complications from vaginoplasty. I'll put a link to this. And I got one at the bottom. Madonna transforms into Virgin Mary, recreates scene from The Last Supper. Why the hell can't you just be the Madonna from the 80s? What the hell's wrong with you? I'll put a link to this. For all the news, please check my favorite videos. Apparently, 2 paramedics have been arrested facing murder charges after a patient dies after he was strapped to the stretcher upside down. I'll put a link to that. Check out the latest from the Boston Dynamics robot. They're getting more and more human. Ellis, that's the officer that died there. Check out my favorites. Definitely updated news over there. Thank you, everybody, continuing to put out content, keeping everybody informed. You guys are doing awesome. I got a few shout outs this week. Shout out to Rebel News. Pummels, Pfizer CEO, questions at the World Economic Forum. Let me just play a second of this.
When did you know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission? How long did you know that without saying it publicly?
By the way, YouTube staff, that's a fact.
Question. I mean, we now know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission, but why did you keep it secret?
He follows this
You
guy
said it
around
was
for like
100%
6 minutes. I'll put a link to them. Shout out to Rebel News for being there, and shout out to this. I don't know that I don't want to butcher the name. This independent reporter out of Japan catches up with Schwab.
Yeah.
And may I ask you for a comment?
No,
We're on our way to the next thing.
No comment. Hang on, let me see.
Thank you. I think we're gonna rush actually, but thank you. Thanks very much.
Which media are you with?
I am an independent journalist from Japan.
No, thank you very much.
I can't speak. No, that's only approved questions. Get shout out to fellow journalists in Japan and journalists, independent journalists around the world who's standing up and questioning the New World Order and getting in their face. Shout out to her. Much love. And if you want to see something different this week, shout out to the man who paraglides on his couch. You've got to check. I saw this is like the coolest thing I saw this week. Check it out. You might think impossible, right? Now he gets it going. Check it out. He's up in the air. Look at this guy. Check it out. Everything else going wrong in the world, this guy is up in the air on the couch with the lamp and the TV. He's just paragliding. Check it out. He got snacks. He's got drinks. Shout out to him. Big time love. That's all I got for this week, guys. If you like the report, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you think it sucked, it's the worst you never want to see again. Please rate, though. It helps me move around. You can also follow me on all my links. Make sure you're following me on my Twitter, my Gab, my BitChute, Rumble. All of the links are at the bottom. You can support me on Patreon or directly with Cash App. Now I set up a Cash App. Or as always with DonorBox, I put a lot into these reports. A lot went into this one. A lot of news going on. A lot of paperwork to get done. But I'm going to get it out for you guys so you can have the news on a Sunday morning. Again, I'm going to try to put this one on YouTube. Hopefully it'll stay up. I don't think I did anything wrong or against terms of service. I mean, what do you think? All I did was give you the news. And like I said, you decide for yourself what you think is going on. And if this video does go missing, like I said, it's going to be up on Rumble. It'll be up on BitChute. You can find all the links on my social media at the links. You know where to find me. You guys take care. Stay safe. Thank you for hanging out with me for a few minutes on a Sunday while I give you the news. I love you very much. I will see you on the next one.